I want to run for what it can do for my mind, what it can do for my spirit. When you have a good mind and a good spirit, who cares what your hair looks like? Who cares what your body looks like? There's so much low self esteem that I have witnessed with a lot of women in general when it comes to sport. You build the confidence over time. You don't care what you look like. You don't have to wear the two-piece matching gym set. The confident, you are the gym set in your body, your spirit, right? Your skin's gonna start glowing. You gotta build it. And I feel like a lot of people are trying to take the shortcut. They're trying to take the shortcut, and it's like, no, you really have to deal with self.
Welcome to the Safe Space Running Podcast, where we're here to encourage, enable, and empower. Again, I have the homie, my friend, Asia, back on the podcast. Again, Asia, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well, and how are you?
I'm doing all right. It's March. Birthday just passed by. I'm feeling blessed. Had another year around the sun. All things considered, we'll take what we can get. But that's enough about me. Word on the street is you just knocked out another marathon back in Spain. You want to talk about that real quick before we get into the nitty gritty of it all?
Yes, so I am going to tell you happy birthday,
Oh,
for
thank you.
me. It is great to always, breathe life again. But yes, I finished the Sevilla Marathon in Seville, Spain. This was also hosted with our brand partners, Asics, and they did a wonderful job with a lot of their new shoe, which was the Super Blast 3. So I am a Super Blast girl. I run a lot of my marathons in the Super Blast, and we had a super blast. Like, honestly, I'm not going to lie to the people. That course was one of the fastest courses I ever ran on. I didn't PR
Really?
on it, but it was declines. It was super flat. The weather was perfect. And I always like to tell people after that I went to the bull ring, I got paella, I
Mm.
went to the cathedrals, and I just love being in different spaces, and Spain was just truly amazing.
It sounded like from watching and keeping up on the social, it looked like you had a blast. It looked like the event was those shoes was crazy. I'm a little jealous, because I haven't tried the Asics Plus, but it looks like everyone had a really good time, and I believe one of your athletes was down there too. Had a really good time. Was it
Yes.
Jordan, if I'm not mistaken,
Oh,
or
yes, Malik, he went as well with Lance Woods and Doug from our run club. He went. And I'll say something about the shoes because I feel
mm-hmm.
like I have to kind of, when people see a shoe, I feel like you got to know how to dress it up, with the socks and the colors, because that outfit that I wore, I got so many comments about, wow, that purple, wow, the black, wow, those shorts. And then it has to be a full ensemble with the shoe, with the
mm-hmm.
socks.
I agree with you. You got to your timing and clothes got to coordinate. Let me stop being ghetto. I'm talking about ludicrous. But before all that said, if you haven't seen it before, Asia has been on the podcast before. She was part of our coach series. Of course, she's coach and leader of the Machine Athletics, or the founder of Machine Athletics. But I would highly encourage you to check out that episode. She lays down some genuine gems in her experience, and for experience just in general for any runner of any skill set to take on. But this month is part of our Women's History Month, and we wanted to take some time to highlight women who are making impact now. So Asia has been doing the thing for quite some time. Again, you'll get hints of that in the podcast. But in this case, though, Asia was part of a study and worked with Asics for the Move Her Body program. And I'm going to actually let you dig a little bit more about what that was.
Yes, so I was fortunate enough to be a part of this study. There were lots of women that were part of the Asics Move Her Mind study, and I hosted one in Detroit. I did a bit of work in London. I did work in LA where I talked to different women. I talked to different women in Milwaukee and Grand Rapids. And the whole point, and I really want to emphasize this, it's not always just to talk to women. It's also for our male counterparts to also understand what prevents women from movement, not just running, but
Mm-hmm.
in all areas of exercise. So I'm going to take the study of myself, and I've said this before. I am the most athletic woman in my lineage, in my generation, in my family tree, right? And I do believe there's a lot that has to come into place of when I was born, where I was born, my education level, so on and so forth. When I think about my grandmothers and my mothers, they were busy doing other things to get me to where I am today, such as cultivating a family, getting their education, etc. Now women are in a place to allow ourselves to not just do the cooking, the cleaning, and taking care of a child, but to know that when a woman feels confident in herself, it also translates to everything around her, including her partner, including her kids, including her career. And if you think about what that does to everything around her, it magnifies it, it beautifies it. And even if it didn't, it beautifies and magnifies her. And I think that's
Mm.
really what I did in my life was I magnified everything through sport.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I think the study, and we'll have a link in the bio to the study. There was a couple of different statistics that really resonated to that point as well. You talked about, I love that you highlighted men's perspective on why women are not active. And there's a particular statistic in there that talks about two criteria: lack of time and body insecurities, where men thought 34% of that was lack of time, but the women's reality was 74% of lack of time. Men thought that it was mostly body insecurities. That was around 58%. And then it was actually 36% of the woman's reality. So I love that you are really making sure that it's not just empowering and educating women in these statistics, but it's also the men that need to know these things, because it's easy for people to go through and mansplain things. Oh, this is why they don't do this. But there's levels to this.
What it also, because you brought up great points, what it also let me understand was that men, and it's no blame to men,
Mm-hmm.
men didn't know women wanted to do these things, right? So it's
Mm.
like this a woman's mind and a man's mind, and men to their defense, oh, I didn't even know you wanted to go for a run or do this. You never asked me to watch the kids. You never asked or said anything.
Mm.
And a lot of times a woman may think, well, I didn't want to burden you because you were already doing things with your guy friends, you were hanging out, so I didn't want to, so we have these silent conversations in our head of what we think someone else may think, and we never say it, we never express it because we don't want to create conflict. And so I think the first layer is opening the communication, to both people, where if we do this together, how do we resolve whatever that looks like in our life? And I'm not making it around, what their careers are, or if they have kids, or if they're married or not. It's just a simple fact of time management is what everything in life comes down to. How do you want to spend your time? And I may not like Pilates. I may not like running. We may not have to do it together, and
Mm-hmm.
that's okay.
I like that you made that so it's so simple, but yet it's so poignant in the sense of I don't. It's easy to think about what time management of watching the kids and taking care of family things and not being a burden. It's things that, to be transparent, I never thought of. I don't. I mean, it's something that needs to be more transparent and discussed. And I think it's on us as men to take a step back and think about our partners and think about those who are involved and what they're dealing with and how their time is and how can we give them that time back so that way they can be successful and they can go into this fitness lifestyle. And you mentioned time, and I wanted to go into a particular time that we wanted to discuss around, as again, you've been involved in this program, you've been all over the world, literally advocating for this study and being a part with the Asics crew. There is this dope photo of you on the cover for the study, and this was in London. So can you describe how that experience was in London for you?
In London, that's where we were gathering a lot of different women, different backgrounds, different age groups. And I'm saying like women in their 60s, women in their 50s, 40s, 30s. And we were putting together our story points about when we talk to these women in these groups, how can we, as the strong woman, embody a lot
Mm,
of what other women are not saying, right? How can we be the
mm,
embodiment of it? So when I first went to London to be the embodiment of this story, you're right. I am on the cover and I do have a great shot that I loved. That was shot at a track. And if you guys know, my background is in track and field. So it meant a lot to me that there was so much detail put into every woman's story. And I
mm,
remember when I went to the track, they wanted it to be dark at night. We made sure that when the light shined, it gave power to the essence and the beauty of me as a person. But also, I remember the photographer, she was shooting me. And one thing she said was, she's like, no, I want you to stand powerful. I want you to look strong.
mm.
And if you look at the photo, it's very fierce, it's tall shoulders, and it's that darting eye. And I felt like I was carrying that confidence and power for a lot of the women that I spoke to. So it wasn't just a picture, it was me having the experience and how do I embody that message at the track with my own personal story. And it was really just remarkable.
That's really dope. And the study has, I love that the study included different kinds of women. It wasn't just one single type of athlete that they looked for. It was really across the board to really make this study really comprehensive. But less about the study and more so about your involvement in that. Because it's one thing to gather all the data together, it's one thing to poll these women. It's another thing to go out and advocate. And you spoke best about you guys meeting up and speaking out in confidence, staying, being strong to talk about the things that women aren't being, not even just the things that women are wanting to say and having people to speak on that behalf and educate other women around that. And as we mentioned before, you've been all over talking about it in Detroit, you talk about it in Los Angeles, you talked about it in Milwaukee. My
Mhm.
question to you would be, what was the importance of your representation and you being involved in spreading the message? Again, one thing to be involved as a statistic, it's another thing to help explain those statistics and empower behind those statistics. So, what was that like for you?
It was very personal and intriguing for me because one, I am a Black woman. And if we think about a lot of my advancements in being an athlete and a woman who's in sports, I took on that path wider as I got older. And
Mm,
I did not think, and I promise you this, Chris, I 100% did not think as I got older, beyond college, beyond my 20s, I would still be participating in running because I just naturally thought your goal as a woman is either to get married, serve a man, or you have kids.
mm,
And those were just, that was my arena to figure out. I later started to be inspired by a lot of other women who also did those things because those are great things, but they also didn't let themselves go. Because again, exercise come back, it draws back to confidence and empowerment. And so when I was doing the study, you asked what are some of the things that stood out was when I had to speak with Black women. Because if
mm.
you even think about the marathon or distance running, we know and understand by facts there's a low population of us out there. And I'm
Hmm.
not talking about in a race, I'm talking simply hiking at a park, jogging. There are disproportions in that.
Hmm.
And so I'm also discovering things about, socioeconomic with Black women versus if they're married, if they're a single mother, what kind of job do they have? What kind of career do they have? What kind of beliefs do they see? What kind of marketing do they see? A lot of times, one, you don't even see someone that looks like you that was a part of the marketing campaign of a Black woman jogging. If you don't see it, you don't believe it. But then it's not even like, because a lot of people say, well, it's about money, dude. Black women have money. We know Black women have money. Like, money is not just related to race, it's just
Yeah.
related to that person's economic status, but it's also the education. If
Hmm.
you aren't really educated to know that, like I said, I was not educated to understand if my body could physically function and run and sprint. I thought once you turn a certain age, you just cannot sprint anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And so I think what it is, it's taking limited beliefs about what life can look like for you and not making yourself feel bad for doing something that's called
Mm.
a white person's sport or a white woman's luxury and actually taking that into yourself. So that's from the Black woman portion of this. That was something I learned and gravitated with them to understand that it's not limited to a certain race of people. You can do it too.
I think that if I recall correctly, one of your founding blocks for machine athletics was to get people empowered after collegiate. And when you're going through that, I personally believe they couldn't have picked a better person to represent that. Because again, you've been doing this thing for a long time. The ASIC didn't just pull you out of nowhere. And again, go watch the coach episode. It's really good, but that was one of your core building blocks is giving people that education and that empowerment to be successful after college, after high school, to know that they can exist and they can be successful in running. So I love that you brought that out to have that. I think that's a really good point in there.
You hit it dead on. I wanted to make sure that not only could I provide a resource, but I could show that I, as the owner and the founder, could do it. That's very difficult. And I actually get a lot of people who ask, like, how do you do that? And I just feel like if I can't show it, I'm not going to say like I'm a false prophet if I can't do it, but I literally want to show you it is so possible, and it is so possible. It is so achievable. And I do feel like because I am doing it, it resonates with people a lot differently. Like I can show you many athletes that I have produced it for, but when I
Hmm.
do it, it just gravitates a little bit differently.
And that's actually one of the points that they talked about in the study as well, is how women will gravitate and get into fitness from their friends and people who look like them. And you couldn't have said it any better. There's not a lot of blacks out there. It's funny because I just was talking to somebody at the gym and we were talking about, oh, he does, marathons and halves. And this black lady next to me, bless her heart, no issue with her. She's like, what are you running from? That's the common trope I hear
That's
all the time.
hilarious.
Who's chasing you? What are you running from? And again, it's not to say that no, every distance is great, whether it be a mile or 10 minutes or a marathon, it doesn't matter. But that stigma often, especially in black culture, sits there to where distance running is not for us. And I appreciate that you're out here again encouraging women to do something that it's a privilege for movement, but it should be accessible for everyone, no matter what. And it should be having resources to do so as part of that.
And there's another stigma I want to quickly say,
Yes, please.
especially with Black women. And I was a part of these stigmas as well. And I had to get around them. One, our hair. Okay, we all know as Black women, we love to get a press and curl. We like to get our hair done. And I just want to say there are so many ways around it. There's so many ways to look beautiful in your natural state, in a dolled up state. Second stigma, running is going to make me look, what's the word, like skinny, or I'm not going to look healthy. I don't know why people
Yeah.
think like, first of all, running will tone you in so many different ways. Everyone has a
Hmm.
different body type. So, yes, in general, you should complement running with strength training, Pilates, stretching, etc. But let me say this, we talk about our hair, we talk about our body. What Black women are not saying is that I want to run for what it can do for my mind, what it can do for my
Mm.
spirit. When you have a good mind and a good spirit, who cares what your hair looks like? Who cares what your body looks like? You have to fix this first.
Hmm.
There's so much low self-esteem that I have witnessed with a lot of women in general when it comes to sport. You build the confidence over time. You don't care what you look like. You don't have to wear the two-piece matching gym set. The confident, you are the gym set in your body, your spirit, right? Your skin's gonna start glowing. You gotta build it. And I feel like a lot of people are trying to take the shortcut. They're trying to take the shortcut, and it's like, no, you really have to deal with self.
That there the mental aspect. I feel like, and this is me speaking personally, running has given me so much mental clarity and discipline has been the biggest benefit for me in that case. And seeing others, I have a couple athletes that I have now, and seeing their discipline and their mental state change as they go through the block and seeing them continue to get better and better and better. And they still like, I didn't know I could do that, but now I can. That's one of the greatest gifts that I could ever have. And I'm sure, again, I keep saying it, but because it's fact. You've been doing this for a bit, but I know that you being on stage and in advocating for this and bringing these things to light, and the people that you coach, they're able to resonate with that and understand that this is less about the aesthetics. It's more
Hmm.
about your internal and your mental. That's
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 it.
that's it.
That's what I want when women, that's what I want them to hear. For men too, but for the dialogue of
Hmm.
what we're saying, I want you to focus on what it can do for me mentally and my discipline. Do not worry about body and looks and that. Mental and discipline, and everything will magnify and open for you if you can really just anchor on that.
There's a quote in the study that I want to read off, which again, all this is perfectly tying right into it. But it says, "I vividly, my words gonna word, so bear with me. My R's and W's gonna catch up with me, so don't judge me. But I remember vividly standing in the shower after that very first run, which blew my mind. I was like, okay, I need to do this again because it made me feel epic. I was so proud of myself. I exercise for the way it makes my body feel rather than for any aesthetic reason. And even
Mm-hmm.
tying back into that, there's the study that was talking about the benefits that women look at for their exercising is 96% stated it was physical health benefits, 95% talked about self-care, and 92 was mental health. And
Mm-hmm.
those are such pillars. I know my personal journey into that, it was, I guess, and this could be the male aspect. I know it was always like working out was always a physical appearance. Like how I work out to physically look good. But as I got older, it was like, no, I work out because I want to feel good. I want to feel healthy. And you said it best of even in the context of again what we're talking about for women is continuing to let them know that there's so much more to endurance running than just the physical aspect of it. It's the self-care, it's the mental health, it's the that fortitude that builds that we can't see.
Now I'm gonna go a little deeper.
Please do.
I'm 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 I'm
I'm
I'm,
here
I'm,
for it.
I'm about to remove the fluff, and I'm
Yes.
gonna put my coach hat on.
All right.
So we just said that anyone who takes up running should do it for self to really embrace the discipline and the mental. What I find, especially when I coach at a high school level, a college level, and when I venture to different run clubs and get feedback, a lot of times women do things for to find a husband or find a man. And I'm being
Mm,
honest. I really want women to know, yes, you can go to a run club or a male and you could potentially definitely find someone, right? But allowing that to be your sole focus can come with great harm. And I'm going to say
mm,
it again, I've seen this at the collegiate level, I've seen it at high school levels. The great harm, when I remember when I was sitting in my office when I was a grad assistant coach, and I would always get a knock on my door, and it'd be a woman. And I would look, and she'd have so many tears coming down her face. And I already knew what it was about. It was
mm,
something about a breakup, something about a guy, something he said, she said, this said that. And what I call that as a coach is losing focus as a woman. I
mm.
have also experienced in a collegiate format where some people would be so talented, a girl so talented, and she would go with her boyfriend or have a baby and just hang it all up, and maybe he's not with her anymore.
Wow.
And I just say that not to be mean or not
No, yeah.
to like come at women, but I say that to champion women, that I tell women that I'm going to use the example of when you go to a bank and the bank teller knows how to see if something's counterfeit or how that person's lying. Women have to be smart enough to know if you're entering spaces, there will be counterfeit things, there will be things said to you, and you can quickly lose focus. And if you go for the right reasons of self, you will never lose focus of self,
Mm,
ever. I have never lost focus of self because I've always stayed fixated on what my goals were. And the minute you get off track with that is when you start to hear the complaints, and when people when women stop running, right? When they say, not not that they're always the ones doing anything, I'm not saying that, but it's like really stay focused on what you want to do. And if you do feel that something is unsafe, speak up, be direct. Either you tell that person, you tell someone around you, but don't allow things to happen and then you stop running because maybe no one knew, or you something happened and you
mm.
spiral. And a lot of times as a coach, I deal with things that spiral.
I'm still in that, by the way. That when you look, no, for real, I'm still in that. That counterfeit, that was a whole word and then some. I'm putting it in my pocket as we speak. That was
Yeah.
crazy. I love
Yeah.
that though. That is such a real perspective to look at. And
You want to know
I
why it's real? Because
yeah.
it don't happen. Like, people think because I'm a coach, things don't happen in my face, or like
Mm-hmm.
something's not trying to manipulate me. It happens every day.
Yeah.
You have to be smart enough and acknowledge when something's trying to get you off focus. And when you
Mm.
study what's fake and you study what's real, as a woman, so in Milwaukee, when I did the event, right, a
Yeah.
woman did a presentation and she said that she was a part of a study that was trying to get young girls to use more logic than emotion. And she was explaining this, and I was like, what you mean more logic than emotion? A lot of times you can, as a woman, get caught up in the emotions of things. And that logic receptor, the bank teller theory, is sometimes turned off. But if you close that emotional receptor and you say, okay, I know a gaslighter. I know this when I see it. And if you pick up on it, you're just more secure and confident in what's real and what's fake. And you're just more protected when you kind of go through those logical questions.
I like that. I like that, and it's so important, especially when when we're mid block trading for something. How easily can you get distracted, whether it be life or whatever may come our way to distract us. It's so key for us to remain focused in that. Like I said, I'm stealing all of that. I'm gonna record this and put it in my phone and play it for anybody that needs to hear that, because that was a word and then some. But to
Mhm.
pivot to the next part to that, which again it kind of relates to your work with, you talked about working with your collegiate students and helping them get through their times and helping them lock in and stay focused. But you've had a couple times, that's just one example of you paying it forward. You've been working with high school students, you've been working with collegiate for a while now. And I wanted to talk about how important is that for you? And yeah, how important is it for you to go back to your roots of high school and collegiate, and even just a community, and taking what you've learned, again, knowing things that are counterfeit. I'm still stuck on that. But the confidence, going in strong, staying committed, working for the mental. Why is it important to take that back and pay it forward to our community back home?
Okay, so I think it's even more important to pay it back when you can reach someone at younger ages, such
Mm,
as high school. That's a critical time. Even middle school or elementary, right? I try and meet people where they're at in any area. And I think about myself, it started in elementary. That's where my belief system started. And
mm,
then, my parents went through a divorce by the time I got to high school. So high school is a critical time too, because
it
you're
is.
going through the growing pains, you're getting new friends, and we all know high school dictates what college you go to, and it's really a life-changing moment. So I try to make sure when I give back, I'm not going to say that I can save someone, right? But the goal is to direct them in the right path, to be a leader, because these kids are watching. And I still don't believe in the concept of being a friend, only because I'm still a little old school. I was gonna say
Putting it
be a
through the
friend, but
ringer.
let me slow down. But I'll be honest, like when I was coaching in high school, they liked that I had a hard exterior and that I wasn't a friendly friend with them. And I think we often think that paying it back means you got to be super nice. Your job is to really try your best to get someone to make it, right?
Mhm.
And that may come with tears, that may come with love, that may come with hugs, it may come with frustration, it even may come with a parent call. But that's what it takes to give back. It takes the extra hours, it takes the extra level, it takes the extra care, it takes beyond pay. And giving back doesn't always mean let me give back within my constraints. I know that it will take more to really see someone succeed. And then, of course, you get to the collegiate level. It doesn't stop there either, because
Mhm.
now you are trying to really identify who am I in college? And then once I finish, who do I become? Again, we've seen people fall off, right?
Yeah.
We've seen people homeless on drugs. A lot of times they don't have the mentorship, and a lot of times people don't think you anyone cares about them. And I try to guard my heart, but I also make sure that people know there's a level of care, to get them where they're going. And I know that's what worked for me, and I try to pay back in similar ways that really has affected me.
I remember my coach yelling at me. It was the mile race, 400. It was at the 300-mile mark, and me and my coach butted heads all the time. And I will never forget, at the 300 mark, he was like, kick. And I'm clear across the track, mind you. And for some reason, it cut like a dagger through the wind. And I ended up winning that year. But you
Wow.
said it best, I think that coaches, there's a special place for them. And we've talked about that before, but you going back and giving that gift of coaching to these to our youth and our community says a lot. People don't forget those things, especially when they see the end result. Through it all, it's probably trash. I ain't gonna lie. I know when my coach kicked me off the team, I need to call him and see if he remembers that. But he kicked me off the team at
It's
regionals.
so trash.
And then he brought me back. But like, I remember him going through that. So I can guarantee you that the youth that you're working with, the young ladies that you're working with from middle school to collegiate, they remember the success. They remember someone challenging them to be great, not just challenge them to be their friend, but challenging them to means that sometimes we can't see. I think when we're in it, it's tough to see the end result, but the beauty of what you do is you typically can see that before they see it. And pulling that out of them takes frustration, takes patience, it takes love, it takes, it takes hard truths. But you have an ability to do that, and you've been doing that very well.
Thank you.
Yeah. And before I forget, there was one particular story I'm gonna have you dig into. Again, this really is what I love about this paying it forward. You took one of your high school coaches to run a marathon, which is crazy to me. But let's talk about that a little bit. How did that play out?
So I took my high school coach, Amy, with me to Paris. And honestly, during that time, it was 2023. I could have selected any guest. So I was kind of nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, I knew it was going to be a coach. And I also want to take it a little deeper too. I want to say some real
Yes.
stuff. I feel like when I grew up in the running community back in my era, it was like really tight with even your teammates, your coaches, the bond was strong. Even if you got mad at them, you still had this fluid relationship to where you respected them. I feel like nowadays in the running culture and world, it's so shaky, it's so backstabbing, it's a lot of broken
Mm,
relationships, it's a lot of teammates who are going in the portal and don't care for their coach. It's just like a lot of fast movements.
mm,
And so I'm a type of person where I really cherished and remembered what this woman did for me. I just remember there was a lot of things. Like I said, my parents were going through a divorce at the time. I don't know if she really knew, but she knew there was a lot of struggle happening. There were some times I couldn't get rides to practice, and she found a way. She solved things. If there was any difficulty with me getting shoes or whatnot, we found ways for me to like get donations or whatever it was. Her and her family really made it possible for me. And so
mm.
they are diehard lovers of Asics. Her dad has a running store, and our team would always go to his store. He always sponsored our outfits when we had like
Wow.
nationals and high school, and it was always Asics. And I still have the pictures of me in the Asics outfits. And he just retired from the store. He was the owner. And not only did I take my coach to with me to Paris, I was also selected to give a speech about that journey, and Asics donated shoes to my high school, brand new shoes.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it was what you call like those moments in life where it's just a beautiful storyline. Like all I can say is such a beautiful storyline. And she ran the marathon, and I
Ooh.
think she hadn't ran a marathon in ages, and she finished like 4:03 off of like 12 weeks of training.
Oh, shoot.
I,
I mean,
I think it's
fight.
like four. She almost broke like 4 hours, and she hadn't trained in like she hasn't ran in years.
Wow. That's impressive. I'd be trying to fight for my life in a regular 16 to 18 week block. So I can only imagine.
And I think the most beautiful thing about that was when she was coaching me, my life was
Mm,
in a crazy place. But then when I took her to Paris, her life was in a crazy place. And she
wow.
often stated, how I needed her growing up. And in that moment, she didn't realize the athletes you train, you can also need them, and they can also inspire you. They can also push you. So
Mm,
it was just great to know that at this point in her life, she's married, she got a bunch of kids, she's older, and she's doing different things. And I gave her that push that she didn't know what was coming.
that's beautiful. I love that. I love that she was able to give her back something from what she gave. I'm all about paying it forward in that case too.
Oh, and
And
she didn't have to pay for flight, not hotel.
oh shoot, I need to get.
Yes, we went to the Versailles. We went to all the museums. She saw the Mona Lisa. We had transportation for us. I will say Asics is very, very good at like even when I did things for the projects in London, there's already vehicles and different things set up for you. You literally do not lift a finger. Asics literally make me feel like I'm a professional athlete at the highest level. Like there is
Mm.
not one thing I ever have to worry about at all.
I do believe, And I think that's a way of the world paying back to you, so to speak. Because again, I always I've said it like 10,000 times, but I watch. So we've known you for a little bit now, and I've watched what you do on social, and I see the impact that you have on people, and I truly believe good things come around to those who do good. So it doesn't surprise me that Asics takes care of you because you deserve to be taken care of. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, you've put
Yes.
in so much good to this world and to this community and to women all over. Not even just in your space, not even just in your athletic space, but just literally at a global scale of going around and trying to empower women. And that's why that's really the heart of what this series is about. I know that we often stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, like the Mary Blevins or the Tony Reeds, or those who, made a way for us, or even, Ted Corbett, those who made ways for us to be successful in this. But again, it's one thing I'm speaking candidly. It's one thing as a black man to go into this space where there's not a lot of us. It's a whole different experience as a black woman to go through
Mm-hmm.
this space and to be successful. We need more people like you out here, and having people, when people can look and see, she looks like me, she's successful at this, I can do this. That's what's so beautiful. And this is a good way to go into my last question for you, is that you said something that really sat with me, but as we got through and was planning things through, was trusting in women. And I wanted you to elaborate a little bit more on that, because I don't see enough women black women, especially in this sport, especially at places where they have, you know, it's not to discredit anyone else or whatnot too, but it's refreshing to see us have a voice, if that makes sense. Having a
Mm-hmm.
platform to have a voice to where you've given the space for people to actually pay attention and listen to. And when you said that to me, it was like, that's a really good aspect. So I would love for you to elaborate on what that means for you.
Yes. So trusting in women can mean really a lot of different things. But like I said, I always go back to self.
Hmm.
So, in order for anyone to trust anyone, people have to believe in you and also what you're saying. And
Mm-hmm.
that comes with one being authentic. That comes from understanding knowledge and skill. Like even when I think about my tech background, and I may be the only black woman in the room, people really want to know, does she know what she's talking about? Right? It's back to the counterfeit. It's back to, is this a real $100 bill or is this a fake $100 bill?
Yes. Look, you
And
speaking
people
me.
can tell when it's a fake $100 bill. And so, um, I'm gonna spin it a little bit. I recently had a friend tell me there was this woman who was trying to gain in the fitness industry, and she had 100,000 or 150,000 followers, but brands weren't really doing work with her.
Mm,
And I want people to think less about volume of followers and volume of the data. Don't get me wrong, that stuff plays a part. But brands are really looking for authentic people to trust in women, right? Or to trust in, if you
mm,
want to be a woman leader, people can tell if it's real or fake. You cannot fool them with follower count. You cannot fool them with anything. I remember when I got into business school, they said the number one marketer is word of mouth. It's not marketing on what you see on TV and things. It's what people say about you behind closed doors. That is why I led with women having a strong reputation, right? So if you're
mhm,
inviting yourself in drama and mess and talking to this guy and doing that, and you're in this feud of things, the likelihood of somebody trusting you or being a leader goes down. I'm not going to trust something I wouldn't follow in real life. I'm not talking about
mhm,
Instagram. Would I follow this woman behind closed doors, in front of the doors? Who are you when the lights are off? Integrity. So I think as a woman, it is so careful who you date, who you're around, what you study. And I'm also in this month, I'm also in this women's group where they have different powerful women speak about different things, and the one thing they said is that it's okay for women to be direct and vocal. So when people trust in you, they're wondering, are you hesitant in what you say, right?
mm,
Or are you direct? If someone joked with you, do you joke with them back, or do you stop them and say, that was inappropriate and blah blah blah, right? People are always testing you as a woman, and I think women feel like if I am direct, if I do have boundaries, no one will like me, and that is not true. Actually,
Mm,
people will respect you.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think in today's social media buzz, everyone's so worried about the social count. I'm glad you brought that up because that was something again that I personally struggled with. It's just account's not there, but I like that you gave the women who are listening to this, and even for us men to go out and be able to translate, not translate, to convey that as well, is that it's about their reputation, and that crosses whether it be men or women. But again, women's experiences are different than men's experiences, and it'd be remiss of me to say, oh, it's all the same. No, there are different caveats to that, and I think us as men have to acknowledge that. I think it's one thing I've seen that often where like, oh, they get the same. We deal with this being black. Real talk. We deal with them. They have the same opportunities. No, that's not the case. Women have the same. No, there's different struggles. There's different things that they have to go through, and there's different experiences. But that we have to, as a male, for me, be able to give you this space to be you, however you are, and give you that freedom to do that, not stifle you into that. But I love that you made that point to really just where you are and how you are behind closed doors speaks a lot of volumes, and what people speak about you when you're not there, or what social's not saying, what your reputation carries afterwards.
You said a great point too about men, and I'm going to drive this last point home.
Yes.
What people say about anybody behind closed doors, but especially I picked women.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about trusting women, and I'm speaking woman right now,
Yes.
a woman's trust will grow when she feels that she has trust in you as a male, right? If
Mm-hmm.
I'm around other men, whether it be work, whether it be running buddies or partners, if I know that behind closed doors, you are fake, you are phony, you are untrustworthy, I as a woman then I feel unsafe. So
Mm.
when we talk about the term protect women or protect black women, what does that really mean? Cuz when women feel protected, we can then open the door for trust. If I don't feel protected around you, or if I feel that person's the enemy or they don't have my back as a woman, that's when the trust goes low. And that's
Mm.
when damage opens up, right? So it's the idea of these topics around women are not just for women, are not about women. We must also find allies and respect with men, which is a counterbalance into how women open up about certain things. And when that's low, we get the backlash,
Mm.
but it was never brought up that that woman didn't feel safe or she didn't feel trust. And safe has really nothing to do with like the physical extremities. It could be I don't emotionally feel safe. And
Yeah.
sometimes as men and women we, don't quite understand that, but I think that's a layer too.
It's a fact. I mean that. I mean the fact of us making sure that we give y'all that space so that way you feel trusted, you feel protected and safe for that. And again, I feel that a lot closer as a black male, just because we should be out here protecting our black women, protecting women, period. But again, just being candid, we need to always make sure that we allow you all to have that space to do what you do best and trust you in that. And if we put you in, we have to continue to elevate all of us and put everybody on the same playing field, and also acknowledge, however, that there are different struggles for us to get there. We may have the same goal, but it may not be the same means to get to that goal. And
Exactly.
acknowledgement and understanding goes a long way, especially in this running space. Well,
And I've learned a lot of change comes through by listening. And a lot of
mm,
times I feel like when there's conflicts, whether it be, and these are things I'm learning through the group that we're in, um, we sometimes want to avoid listening, even when we know
mm,
there's a problem because it's uncomfortable.
yeah.
And I think, when there is discomfort, invite it because that's where we learn. That's where we learn.
I agree with that. I totally agree. Well, I'm sad to say this is. I think I don't have. I'm out. I'm all tapped out of questions, but I'm always blessed to speak with you. I always leave away, you know, fed. You know what I'm saying? Like I always feel like I always learn something new. And I thank you. I thanked you the last time, but I'm going to thank you again because you are that deal. But at the
Thank
same
you.
time, you are doing great things. Again, not only just with Asics, with your work you've done with them, with the Move Her Body movement, with you going literally all over the world to advocate for women and their health, but what you do with machine athletics and your community work behind that. So again, I hope that, through this podcast and whatever means that I personally can, that we continue to recognize you. And my platform is always your platform. You know how I am, but we always want to make sure we honor those who are making impact now, whether it be to hundreds and thousands of people or to that one high school female athlete who doesn't know how to get around. And yet someone
Mhm.
comes in and lays down a gem that she takes with her for the rest of her life. And I believe that you're laying literal gems all over. So I can't thank you enough. You know this ain't your last time on the cast. So
It's not. And Chris, I want to just, thank you for this platform, for you even allowing me to discuss these topics and bring this forth. I truly enjoyed, and I will continue to advocate for men and women
Mhm.
because it takes both genders. It takes all of us to really empower women in the sport and move it forward.
100% agree. Well, I'm sure we'll be seeing each other on the course soon. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.